You don't become a king because you are wearing a crown. Because when the king is not home, even clowns in the palace try the crown on their head. It's not the crown that makes the king. It is the character. Don't expect anything statesmanly from President Tinubu. He cannot give what he doesn't have. He told the EFCC, whatever money you recover, go and put it in Nel fund. That's a crime. He ought to be impeached. Because the law in section 162 of the Constitution says any money you recover, you put it in the federation account.
Because that will be appropriated for.
So if you want to take it to Nel fund, you go to National Assembly. So, but it shows to you how lawless the president is naturally lawless. It's not like President Tinubu wakes up in the morning. Because I sometimes imagine, does President Tinubu wake up in the morning and call his friends and say, guys, how many laws are we going to violate today? Yesterday we violated 24. Let us improve on our situation and violate much more.
Wow.
You see, the sacred duty of a leader is to lead by example. No talking. A deaf and dumb president will serve Nigeria better than President Tinubu.
Wow. This is Naija Unfiltered on SYMFONI TV. My name is Olawale Oluwade, and my guest today is lawyer, entrepreneur, and politician, the presidential candidate of the Social Democratic Party, Mr. Adewole Adebayo. You're welcome, Prince.
Thank you very much. It's a pleasure.
Nice to have you on the show once again.
Thank you. I mean, God bless Nigeria.
Amen. That's a prayer we should all say amen to. Let's get on with our conversation, Prince. During your interview at the National Peace Conference 2 or 3 days ago now, you mentioned that President Bola Ahmed Tinubu should wear a mask of shame. What exactly do you mean by that?
Leadership comes with responsibilities. And you don't do what is convenient. You do what is necessary. And in the aftermath of the dozens of lives, I even feel ashamed counting lives in dozens. But for everyone who lost a family member, for every life that was lost in the Osun election, the president ought to have addressed the nation. There is no country that I know of in the civilized world where 40 lives can be lost just like that. And all you hear, election is over and people win, are celebrating, people who lost are lamenting. And the peace accord signing ceremony was another opportunity for the president to reiterate his commitment to peace and electoral justice. And since all the stakeholders were there, INEC, police, other law enforcement, and the political parties, to kind of sound out that I expect you to follow the law, and I expect you to maintain the peace, and I expect that Nigerian lives will not be lost again or any Nigerian harassed for election. And to say so convincingly and emphatically. So for the president to keep all of us waiting there, saying he was coming and he didn't come, and no recorded speech, no nothing, and knowing that he is responsible for the tension in the land with respect to the electioneering process. So that's why I thought he should be the chief peacemaker in the electoral process. And since he failed to do that, that's a moral failure that no president should repeat. And I will not repeat as president.
Okay. Now, talking about the political parties the representatives of the political parties, the presidential candidates, including yourself, that just signed this peace accord. The question is, does it really have any significant meaning? Is it really that impactful? Is it really of any significance, really? Because immediately after elections, the question is, you guys just go, you return to your default mode, which is, incendiary rhetorics, actual fomenting of violence, and all of those, recruitment of thugs. I could go on and on. So, Prince, that entire ceremony, is it not just exactly what it is? It's just ceremony.
It's important to me in the sense that what I agree to in the peace accord is in accordance with my normal life. I do not use violence. I do not use violent language. I don't do hate speech. I don't do fake news. We don't recruit thugs. We campaign based on issues. And we are number one on the issue of issues. And our agenda, farewell to poverty and insecurity, is so vast and deep that if you gave us 2 years to campaign, we will still be within the framework of talking core issues. So that's why I said that, as is said in the scripture, it is the sick that need the physician. It is President Tinubu mainly who needed to be there so that he could listen to the peace committee and he could listen to the statistics. We were together there 4 years ago, and everything was reeled out. Late President Buhari was also there, and the situation is even more dire now. The amount of violence that they meted against us in Bauchi, you need to look at the tapes.
In 2023 or
2026, this is 2026.
2026, wow.
May 9, in Bauchi. Wow. A number of people were hospitalized because they sent thugs to come and disrupt the SDP National Convention in Bauchi. And the worry on the face of the governor, the worry on the expressed worry by the people in law enforcement there asking us, hurry up, they're coming to scatter you guys. But we stood our ground. That's okay. If you want to kill us in our own country, let's kill us in the public. So President Tinubu knows what is going on. He's the commander-in-chief of the armed forces. Right now, he knows those who kill those people in Osun. He knows them. He knows Father Unsi personally. And
Senator Father Unsi?
Yes, he knows him personally. And he knows his thuggish ways. And so that is why people like us are at home to sign the peace accord. I signed 4 years ago. I don't think anybody could cite a single violation of it on my part or on the part of the SDP.
You mentioned your experience May 9th during your
convention in Bauchi.
Party convention in Bauchi. Give us more details, just briefly, please.
To start with, we got to Bauchi as a refuge.
As a refuge?
As
refugees, you mean?
No, Bauchi as a refuge.
A refuge, a place of refuge.
For us.
Okay.
Because the emperor in Abuja will not give any space. And our party is extremely popular in Nasarawa. We won 2 out of the 3 Senate seats there.
Oh, really?
Yes.
In the last elections, yes. Wow.
And we won House of Rep seats. And I think we are the second largest in the House of Assembly.
Okay, in the states, House of Assembly in the states.
And then the House of Reps, we are half or so, or 1/3 at least, of the delegations in the National Assembly. And we have people like us. And even the one the INEC announced for us is far less than what we got. Even is the state capital. the representative is from SDP. And it took INEC 2 weeks to announce the results. They can't do anything with it. They use arithmetic, algebra, geometry.
Because the margin was just
They use sort, they use all kind of calculation. Eventually,
pie chart and next everything.
Eventually, the national rulers, everybody came out to the governor. Leave these people alone. It can't have problem.
2 weeks after election.
Yes, that's when Solomon Akwashiki was allowed to be announced. So they know we're very formidable there. Then we applied to them. They said, you cannot come to the state capital. We will not allow you. We don't want problems with it. So you can go to Akwanga. You can use one primary school there. Then we said, okay, let it even be a nursery school. Then, after a while, the government got in touch with us. Don't come here.
Wow.
Sorry.
Just to have your party convention.
Yes, don't come here.
Abuja was a no-show. The Nasarawa now is a no-show.
So we have to write to INEC. Wow. That's why I always commend Governor Bala Mohammed of Bauchi State. So we said, okay, we don't want problems. So we got in touch with the stadium in Bauchi and they said, well, okay, you can come. But so I told my party people, look, it's not always venue. It's the people in government. So then we got in touch with the governor and said, if there's a venue in my state, you can use it. Why should I disturb you? Many did not believe in their party. They said, if we get to Bauchi, the governor may say, don't come again. Then we'll be stranded. But the governor did not disturb us at all. But the law enforcement there started saying, why did you bring your problem here? Since you said you were coming, Abuja has been on our neck.
Really?
Yes.
They started getting pressure from...
Pressure.
Wow.
So eventually, the day came, we got there. Even some of our members started getting calls from Abuja that, you will see red today. Wow. So something in Bauchi didn't come.
Wow. So
we got there, and then we had security briefing. And the people responsible for security, officially responsible for security, said, look, we're leaving town. We're just telling you, crisis will start from so time because they are bringing these people to come and scatter you. So go there, spend only 1 hour. Finish your thing and get out of this place. After that, don't hold us. So we said, okay, thank you. Different arms of security.
Gave you the same briefing?
Yes. So early in the morning, I was still receiving guests when they came to say, shower or you don't shower. Find your way to the stadium if you want to be presidential candidate. Get in there. You call your full name, we vote and we get out of there. So, okay. So when we got there, I said, guys, if we are going to die, let's die here today. We have to do what is right. So we stayed there. Then more than 500 talks with machetes were inside the stadium.
No, sorry, Prince.
It's on tape. Maybe you can suspend this part. After I review the tape, you won't be asking me questions.
Please, that would be fantastic, please.
Yes.
You need to oblige us. This is very important.
Yes.
Prince,
so
very important.
With cordials.
No, this happened in this country, Nigeria.
Yes. 26 or so people had to be taken to hospital for blood transfusion.
SDP National Convention, May 9th this year.
In Bauchi, yes. And that's something that the peace committee ought to know about. So now, but because our members, that's why it's not good to hire crowd. They will run like, am I dying for 5,000 or 20,000? So these are our members, delegates from all parts of the country. So they sat down there, and before you know it, law enforcement disappeared. So it was the community effort that kept this place. They just disappeared.
Prince, when the president met with the Catholic bishops some weeks back now, a number of topical issues, highly sensitive issues, emanated from that interaction that caused a lot of uproar all over the place. One of them was the president's statement, and I quote, "All is fair in politics." Now, many have said that was telegraphing, and that some of his party men have latched onto that. And it wasn't like they needed any dog whistling.
You don't become a king because you are wearing a crown. Because when the king is not home, even clowns in the palace try the crown on their head. It's not the crown that makes the king. It's the character. You don't become a statesman because you find yourself in the villa as president. You are supposed to choose a president out of the statesmen that are already in our public space. Don't expect anything statesmanly from President Tinubu. He cannot give what he doesn't have. Nobody is condemned to remain unchangeable, unimprovable, but the slow rate of improvement may not catch up with human expectation or reasonable expectation. There's no background to President Tinubu to make you to expect what you are expecting now. There's no record. So the more we say we are expecting President Tinubu to do this, to do that, we always say it for the record so that people will know that we haven't forgotten what the standards are. But there is no reasonable expectation that President Tinubu will act out of character. And he is also not pretentious. He says who he is, or he won't talk at all. That's why he doesn't talk. He won't debate, because if he says his mind, you will be shocked. But he acts it out. So for me, when you look at Nigeria, they're using President Tinubu as an excuse for our unacceptable tolerance of impropriety as a society. So we tend to say, oh, we're disappointed in the president. Just like I stopped listening to Americans when it comes to Trump. I agree that Trump represents America well, because the first term can be a mistake. Second term cannot. So actually, there are many in our society who have high tolerance for impropriety. That's why I find it shocking that despite what Nigeria has gone through, APC still has over 400,000 votes in Osun State. They should have come last. So it shows to you that there is high tolerance, higher than normal tolerance for what President Tinubu is doing, is saying. In a normal society, with the encounter with the Catholic bishops, half of the cabinet will threaten to resign. That I cannot associate myself. That's why when after the 2023 elections, and people were saying, oh, go and serve with the government, this is not for me to throw my paper and say, I'm out of this nonsense, I'm out. I can't do it. So, to the extent that people are not reacting, shows to you that President Tinubu has a market, a segment in the political elite and the general populace, and to be fair, it's some part of the media who will help him explain, accommodate, and have apologetics for this low level of unpresidential conduct, remarks, attitude, and outlook. That is why who quarrels with Catholic bishops? They just remind you of what the Christ wants. They remind you of what society should be. They don't even expect you to meet all the expectations. They just want you to acknowledge the expectation. And if a president is so devoid of a sense of responsibility, and detached from reality, and is aggressive in the imposition of intellectual darkness, that the idea that you can even flicker any light to illuminate his weak points, that he becomes so aggressive, shows to you that if there's anyone in society today who doesn't know that it is a patriotic duty to retire President Tinubu for his own sake and for the sake of the country and for the sake of the future, that person is the problem.
But this is sobering. What should happen to, if you can do this in 1 minute, 1 minute, Senator Fadaunsi? Because if we're not careful, that matter will be swept under the carpet. We will not hear anything about it. And the cleric, some asked him, the cleric, Jengil, some asked him to apologize, but he doubled down. And there are others like that. Should there not be made example of Prince?
Let me say something. It is contrary to the rule of law for somebody who is in politics to tell police what to do. That's the reason why I never call for the arrest of this person, prosecution of this person. I just point to the fact that when I come here, I will give you rule of law. Because in that kind of scenario, the people in law enforcement ought not to be told what to do. The Attorney General of Osun State ought not to be told what to do. The Director of Public Prosecution of that state ought not to be told what to do. The Commissioner of Police ought not to be told what to do. When you have rule of law, just like when my brother, Governor of Oyo, was lamenting and said he's going to call United Nations, I told him, what are you there for? If they came to your state, killed people, kidnapped people, beheaded people, and dramatically returned them, you are entitled to know, as a government, who has come to your state to commit these heinous crimes, and to use your law enforcement to deal with because you have capacity.
You are a sovereign in your own right.
In your own right. Why are you calling United Nations and Intergalactic Council? So that is the duty. So there's no way now anyone will tell you or deceive you that there is the police in Nigeria and there is law enforcement and there is rule of law. No. Because if there were, you won't be discussing it. You will be discussing it as a criminal case, not as a political commentary.
Absolutely. Sir, Prince, in a state where law enforcement, and I agree with you entirely, what you said now, in a state where law enforcement is actually proactive and they live up to their constitutional responsibility, they actually know the remit of their duties. Senator Fadaunsi, when he was invited, and like I said, he sauntered in, granted he walked in majestically, did they almost not rest on the police, knowing that this man had said this, to actually keep him until after election?
What I can say is
because they let him go, and then he went and actually...
What I can say is that under Nigerian law, detention is not a tool of investigation. Detention is a tool to assure that you will be available for investigation or for prosecution. Therefore, even if they don't detain him, they could put a restraining order and put a condition that you can go while we're investigating this, and if you repeat the offense, then we will come and get you. But all of this is in the background that you don't want to know that the Nigerian police is not police. They are government agents in uniform. So they're not police in the way police was introduced to us, where the police works for the law. Nigerian police works for the government. And if you are in government, you are above them. But under our law, a constable is above a minister.
In an ideal scenario.
In other Nigerian law. And when the Nigerian police asked me to address their conference in Lagos under IGP Egwetokun at the International Conference Center this year, I let all the police officers were there, from the IG to the most junior officers, that you are to work for the law, not for the government. And that when I become president, police will not need my permission to come to the council chamber and pick up a minister who, on his way to council, did not stop for traffic light. So, if I have occasion to meet the IG of police as president, I cannot discuss anything with him that's not on tape. That will be kept by the Security Council. Same thing with the Attorney General. Every conversation I have with the Attorney General will be on tape. They may not be released to the public, but they should be releasable upon judicial inquest. Because these two people, IG Police and Attorney General, they are in charge of law enforcement. And in case they've arrested my cousin, or they're investigating my wife, and I tell the IG, stop it, I've already committed high crime and misdemeanor for which I'm supposed to be impeached. So Tinubu is running a lawless government. I am using the word government loosely, because these are just people in power, not a government. Because when you have a government, it has to be according to the law. And it's not President Tinubu alone. It's just that he is kind of dancing naked in the public with his own. Almost every government we've had since 1999 has pocketed the police and has tried to make the Attorney General a tool of using the law as a cudgel to suppress society. And if you speak to different attorneys general, I recommend that you have an interview with Chief Kanu Agabi, one of the few that's had his conscience. Try to tell the government, I'm not your lawyer. I am the lawyer of the country. This same Tinubu was charged to Code of Conduct Tribunal. Under Obasanjo?
Yes. Under Jonathan?
No.
Okay.
Under Obasanjo. The reason why you didn't hear about it was when the Attorney General, Kanu Agabi, heard about it, he walked straight to the Code of Conduct Tribunal and withdrew the case.
Wow.
To the chagrin of the president. And
exactly.
Yes. So that's kind of...
Really, Prince?
Yes.
No wonder.
You can go on.
Wow.
Interview Kanu Agabi. So you
because it was an abuse of due process.
Yes, just went there and withdrew there and walked away.
Wow. because he realized...
What is this? So we need to have that. And it will be to the benefit of everyone. What a beautiful country we are going to have when the gate man in front of my house knows that the owner of this house, the big man, and I are under the same law. Yes. So nobody can slap my face where I'm working here. Where police stopped me, I know, he just finished stopping the Chief Justice of Nigeria himself right there. So we all feel free. How do you feel when you go around the world and you go to some countries? You know that they are under the law.
This is chilling, Prince. Last question on this, and then we'll move away from it. It wasn't only President Tinubu wasn't at the peace signing ceremony. I think the ADC presidential candidate, Atiku Abubakar, also was not there. So why do you single out President Tinubu?
Okay. The ADC presidential candidate didn't have to be there because he's just a job applicant who failed to show up for interview. President Tinubu is the employee who is doing the job now.
And he's been assessed.
He's been assessed. Also, it's his duty to be there because he's the head of state. You see, majority of my disagreement with President Tinubu is his head of state part. As chief executive, he can have bad policies. He already told people he was going to remove subsidy before, and they voted him anyway, or at least people voted for him. So that's just a disagreement over policy. He doesn't believe in free education or quality education. He believes in commoditization of education. Doesn't believe in appropriation. That one's a crime. For example, President Tinubu told EFCC, the money you are recovering from your investigation, and which I must commend the EFCC chairman, he may have made some mistakes, but he's a genuine person. If Olukoyede was serving under me, he will be 1,000,000% more effective. So despite being surrounded and working under the cloud of people who don't like rule of law, he's a patriot. He's determined to do something.
Well, you have confidence in him.
I have confidence in him as a person.
As a person.
And many of his senior team. I've opposed them adversarially when I go there to defend, protect the rights of people that are investigating and other things. But they are professionals and they love the country, they're patriotic. And they're taking a lot of risks. And they can't speak out about much more they will have done, which the people in authority are saying, don't touch it. But the president issued an illegal and unconstitutional order to him. Not only stop investigating or go and withdraw in Osun, he told the EFCC, whatever money you recover, go and put it in Nel fund. That's a crime. He ought to be impeached. Because the law in section 162 of the Constitution says any money you recover, you put it in the federation account.
Because that will be appropriated for.
So if you want to take it to Nel fund, you go to the National Assembly and say, I'm bringing an appropriation bill to you that money is recovered from the proceeds of crime should be devoted to Nel fund and will be audited this way, that way. The representative of the Nigerian people will look at it and say, okay, why not use it for something else?
Maybe build primary schools.
Yes.
Take out of skilled children out of the road.
Exactly.
On the streets.
Why not use it for victim compensation? Why not return it to the state where they stole it from? So things like that. So, but it shows to you how lawless the president is naturally lawless. It's not like President Tinubu wakes up in the morning. Because I sometimes imagine, does President Tinubu wake up in the morning and call his friends and say, guys, how many laws are we going to violate today? Yesterday we violated 24. Let us improve on our situation and violate much more.
Wow.
Or he just stumbles into it like you wake up in the morning
Wow.
and you are somnambulistically walking and breaking laws. And then by the time you look back, Mr. President, we have just broken 400 laws today. Is that really? Are they laws? Because I don't know. Don't you structure your mind that when I wake up as president, the bedsheet on which I'm sleeping is public property. So if I damage it, I have to ask, should I repair it by myself? Because you have to walk on eggshell across the villa like, this is a public building. I didn't build it. It's not mine.
Others were here before me.
Yeah, the pen I'm using is not mine. So even if I'm going home, I can't take the pen with me to write a love letter to my wife because that's not part of the job. I have to drop the pen. If I'm in a government vehicle, they are driving me, I have to know when the official mileage stops. So if I want to go and visit my cousin who is in the hospital, I'm not doing work as president. I have to park that one. Go. So they don't know that even the food you eat in the villa is supposed to be accounted for. that you're not supposed to feed somebody who comes to visit you because it's your classmate, because it's not coming to visit you for official duties. You're not supposed to use public money to feed your classmate. That in other presidencies, at the end of the month, they calculate, you eat this food when you are doing official duty. As a lawyer in New York, we knew when we could pay for our own lunch. Because if we hold a lunch with a client, the office pays. If it's just me going with my friend, I pay for myself. So don't you know all these limits?
You mentioned earlier that as president, if you become president, two critical government functionaries that you would ensure do not take directives from you, and you deal with them at an arm's length,
And transparently and on
transparently.
record.
The Attorney General of the Federation and the IG of Police. This issue you mentioned about, because I think it was yesterday at the Federal Executive Council meeting that this decision was taken, and was the media carried it. Conventional media, non-conventional media. Prince, from that yesterday till today, I've not heard anybody say what you said. What is should the Attorney General, in fact, when the president made that at the FEC, should he not have drawn the attention of the president, no, you can't do this. And then the National Assembly, whose powers are being flagrantly usurped.
Yes.
Should they also not have come out to say, no, the president, was not properly advised, this is not the way it should. Can you speak to this, Prince? What's going on here?
You don't have an Attorney General in the classical way it should be, in the way it's written in the book. Because the Attorney General sees himself as the president's lawyer. That's why you could see the Attorney General put his mouth in the registration of a political party. That is enough to remove him, because it's not your job. Don't get involved in the politics of the day. When Kanu Agabi was Attorney General, somebody said that he was politically naive because he tried to say, I am not involved in politics. I'm for the law. And they said, you are politically naive. He said, yes, just a compliment.
Wow.
Yes.
Wow. It was a badge of honor.
Yes.
Wow.
And people used to say the same thing about Elias.
Of course, Taslim Elias.
Yes.
That's a great
That
man.
Akintola said, Elias is educated beyond common sense.
And he thought he was saying something derogatory.
Yes. So you need an Attorney General who wakes up with the law. There's a State House Council whose job is to help the president to navigate. If he breaks the law, help him to defend and explain himself. But the Attorney General is the lawyer for the country. That's that. There is no National Assembly as is written in the Constitution. What you have are the Tinubu Fans Club. Because many you find National Assembly didn't want to be there, don't have what it takes to be there. They're just there as a clearinghouse for the next political venture. That is why the president of the co-equal arm of government, National Assembly, the chairman of the National Assembly, who is the president of the Senate, can be president's errand boy to commission projects which is supposed to have oversight over. So, president can be commissioning a road. National Assembly will be looking at the budget. Did we appropriate money for this? Did they do violence without telling us? Did they exceed the payment? Is the project overvalued?
Did they follow due process?
They follow due process. So they are supposed to call the contractor, call the minister, call everybody involved to be questioning. There's supposed to be an auditing or adversarial position. They go there to sing songs for the president. So it is deliberate on the part of the president to abolish the National Assembly by absorbing them to the presidency. And he has a book of life. If your name is not in that book of life, you can't win your primaries, and if you win it, you can't return. So Nigerians should, in working towards 2027, it's not enough to say, I am going to vote Prince Adewole Adebayo of the SDP for president. You must look in your community and find decent people to vote for the Senate, House of Representatives. And all of these things we are saying, raising alarm about National Assembly, they are far better than the state assemblies.
That's
The
even
National Assembly, as disappointing, as historically deficient as it is still at least following the hollow rituals of first reading, second reading, and all of that. Even though they are doing reading without reading the text. The state assembly, they are just domestic staff and personal hirelings of their governors. Some of them went and passed a resolution against their own autonomy. When we were going around to say there must be autonomy, they passed resolution rejecting their own autonomy. Even in Oyo State, where my brother Seyi Makinde comes from.
where he presides over.
Yes, and where he presides over. If he wants to treat National Assembly the way he's treating Oyo Assembly, then he shouldn't come here at all. So it shows to us that we need to work. While we're highlighting all of these things, the presidency we are bringing is to change the entire climate in Nigeria. Make us a lawful society. Make us a civilized society, a democratic society. And when you see that it will get to your turn, the way my grandma used to share akara for us, he will say, all of you go and sit on your seat. Don't worry, you will get to your turn. You don't stretch your hand. So let us know that rule of law, it will get to your turn. If the pendulum of the law doesn't favor you today, you respect the rule of law, it will get to your turn.
Prince, I don't want this conversation to... You're tempting me to get into this. But I would fail in my sacred duty as a journalist if I don't ask you this. From the halcyon days of the Taslim Elias, the Dadi Onyema, the Kanu Agabi, even of recent memory, because Kanu Agabi was Attorney General, not 1960 or 19,
Yes.
just 1999 or 2000 or something.
Yes.
How do we come from that Olympian height to this level of the recent? Can we even get back to that level? Can we ever get
We
back?
can get back there in 1 month. If you look at leadership, you see, the sacred duty of a leader is to lead by example. No talking. A deaf and dumb president will serve Nigeria better than President Tinubu.
Wow.
Because
Wow.
by his action,
Wow.
you will see that the president doesn't do this. Why would I? Who work for him? If the president talks the way he talks, then Wike will amplify it and talk the way he talks.
Exactly.
Then you have many Wikes. So if it's the other pendulum, same way. That's why you look at the campaign. The first duty a presidential candidate will do for the country is to state what he's coming to do. The second duty is who is he appointing as his running mate. Because that's how everything cascades. There is nothing wrong with the villa. Unlike what Ruben Abati thinks, there's no permanent juju there. And there's no cabal. Villa has no cabal. When the president is elected, only one person is entitled to enter the villa with him. That's the vice president. Every other one, he has to use his own hand to choose. So what is wrong and why it can be corrected is the Constitution is written as a one-man show. Anybody who says, I'm forming a committee, you're wasting your time, because the Constitution says all, not some, all the powers of, all the executive powers of the Federation are vested in the President. In England, they say he is primus inter pares, first among equals. So his colleagues can fire him. If the entire executive council resigns today, President Tinubu can constitute another one. He can go to a motor park and pick ministers.
That's how defective this constitution is.
Yes,
that's how much latitude it gives one individual.
It's a constitutional dictatorship. And that's what makes me to cry over National Assembly, because the counterbalance is that there will be a people's assembly, and then the judiciary will hold the law so tight that if you touch the blade of justice, it will cut your hand. Now, so President Tinubu can say, okay, go. It may be like Adebayo, my good senior brother, who refused to even choose commissioners at all and continue to run himself. So, and President Tinubu may go to a motor park and pick random motor park people and Mebola and Babambola and take them to the villa. And what may shock you, that these motor park people and Babambola may perform better than the ones who are there now. Because there's no standard. So that is why there's no pestilence facing Nigeria. Nigeria is not like, except, and I hope it is not so, except our crooked ways. You know, in Nigeria we think we are cunning. Except our crooked ways, our hypocrisy, our ability to talk big and do wrong in private has caught up with us. And God wants us to be like that generation whom he said, you will not see the promised land. Because when I see the way some of our leaders, statesmen behave, especially as elections come, and the choices they make, they bring ethnicity, bring religion, bring all sorts of things. I'm thinking,
even though they know the truth.
Yes, I'm thinking, maybe, and I pray very hard, God, if it is the case that you have said this generation will not see the promised land, remember that I'm here. I'm not good, I'm not perfect, but I'm trying my best. See my heart. Look, unless you have another life for me to come and live, I want to see the promised land.
Prince, we need to make some progress, but it was very, very important that we deal with what we just dealt with. Let's make some progress, Prince. There's a coalition of 3 political parties and their candidates, including yourself, SDP, Bengola Olawekpo Hashim. I don't quite remember the name of his party now. And then
Accord.
Okay, it's Accord actually. Okay. Then Omoyele Sowore of the AAC. Tell us briefly, just 1 or 2 minutes about this. And then is there any plan to expand it into the larger coalition discussions of the G100 and all of that?
There has been talks in segments of Nigeria that every year we all come out, vote for me, vote for me. There can only be one president. Why don't make efforts to try to work together? And there are also those who have the theory that if you don't come together, you can't defeat the incumbent. I don't necessarily buy that. I believe that Nigeria can just choose somebody and go. You don't need the opposition to come together for you to do that. You can look at somebody with a vision and all of you go there. But in any case, it is a good thing for people who talk similar things to try to work together, because if you look at what you want to do in government, and that's what the other person wants to do in government, and if your political parties' philosophies are similar, why don't you start to work together and remove the personal ambition in it? So that was what it was. Olawekpo Hashim that came up with the idea, and when he said he would like to host it, because he's been calling me, talking, and said we need to meet. So when I went to see him, and I said, "Is that what you're coming for?" I'm for it. I'm not against that. So we hosted the meeting. There would have been 5, but the other 2 were not informed on time, and the Action Alliance is part of it. And we hope that the model will be practiced, which is that let's all agree, and we all agree on Chapter 2 of the Constitution, that, okay, this is what the government should do. Sowore is more concerned about Chapter 4,
which is
human rights.
Okay. Expectedly.
Yeah, if you give human rights in Nigeria,
every other thing.
Sowore will go and go back and be teaching in the university he was teaching before.
Yes.
You know, it's human rights. It's his main concern. Sowore's main concern is human rights. He hates to see a lawless police He hates to see a government that doesn't obey the law. He hates to see big manism, trumping over
Trampling
legalism.
over-
legalism.
exactly.
Chiwore is concerned that the concept of common man should start with the president. The president should be common man. So that is what he believes in. And I'm stronger on chapter 2.
The security and the welfare, just for the benefit of our listeners.
Yes.
Chapter 2 of the schedule of the
Fundamental objective
and directive principles
of state policy,
state
which is
policy.
about social welfare. You have to abolish poverty and insecurity. You have to have a country where the citizen feels like, thank God I was born in this country. And Olaweku has a history of activism. So he believes that the politics should be dominated by labor union, farmers union, and that until you bring the common people themselves to come and be the owner of the democracy, that the democracy that is managed by politicians will fail because they are personal. So, and Action Alliance is about populism. So that's why we're coming together. And I don't want to out him, but we've had a discussion with PRP. So yes, PRP is our mother party.
Yeah, exactly.
That is the NAPO.
Exactly.
And that is party of Aminu Kano. So we who are followers of Aminu Kano, that's our party. So those who are there now are just custodians of it. And since the chairman, Dr. Hakim Ahmed, is eager, and since Donald Duke is not, he has no ego problems, and so we're working like that. So it's our hope that between now and next 1 month, at least you will have more signatories to it. So that's the idea.
What of the ADC? I don't want to mention the APC. It's obvious your answer, but what of the ADC? African Democratic Congress, Atiku Abubakar, David Mark, Adegbeshola, and all of those.
Those are official big men. Oh. These are big men you are calling. You don't call it those names anyhow. These are big men. We don't want to offend them because we recognize the fact that they are big men and they may have a sense that they are the one entitled to succeed the people there. So if they are willing, because I was in the university when Atiku Abubakar was running for president.
1992, 1993.
Yes, in fact, I was the one pasting his posters in Lagos. And I was posting his poster for a simple reason. The candidates that I liked were banned by Babangida.
Yes.
So, naturally, in the SDP, I would have supported Bola Ige. But they all banned. Or Jakande.
Exactly.
Then Yaradua, I liked him, but because he was military, I didn't want a military. The same reason why I didn't support Obasanjo. I'm sorry, but it's a fact. Like 1999, I said I can't support Obasanjo, I can't support military. So then I couldn't support Abiola ever in my life at that time because I knew about all this ITT
Exactly.
and all this sponsoring.
Even if you didn't know personally, Fela made all of us to know.
No, I even knew. So I just can't stand it. So I used to see Abiola come to Jakande's house. I said, me, never. So when I saw Atiku, Abubakar, very young at that time, and I took about, I was a civil servant, working custom and everything. So I went to Dr. Finney's house. There was no poster there. They went to Jakande's house. They brought some posters. I started posting. So I started campaigning for Atiku Abubakar that time. Eventually, I wasn't even qualified to be a delegate to go to Jos. We went to Jos, he lost, and Abiola took over. So I just lukewarm. Then when they annulled the election, Abiola stood up. Then that's how we always, okay, so this man is ready to commit class suicide now. Let's help him fight for the mandate. So now, who am I to go and tell Atiku Abubakar that
Come and join me.
Come and join me. So if he feels like he recognizes our generation and our generational destiny is to fix the problems of our own time, and he has confidence that, well, they can do it. It's up to him. But I think it is not proper in African context to go to an elderly person and say, step down for me. So we who are in the same generation, we can do it. And someone like Donald Duke, what I know about him is about the country, it's about doing things right. You just want to see things done right. So anyone who's willing, we will co-opt them. And hopefully we can come up with a framework that will not be about personality, will be a framework that's about principle and certain standards.
Okay. I like the fact that you said, deference to the old generation of
those are my mates.
Of course, I love that. Yes. I love that. That's respect. And from our culture, we have respect for elderly people. But there's this group, I think they've made your job easier, the G100, Dr. Salihu Lukman, and I think one or two others. Have they reached out to you?
Yes, we've had conversation. They write to me. They visited us, and the entire National Working Committee of the SDP welcomed them, and they've had private conversation with me. They sent me their framework, what they want to do.
Because that would be like
I have very good friends there. My bosom friend, Nena Ukeji is there. Professor Kila is there. Quite a number of friends there.
Fantastic. So that's a bridge. That would be the logical vehicle to bridge the divide between the old and the new generation and say, come together, But anyway, when you guys get to that bridge, but let me ask you, Prince, do you actually believe you or any of these other candidates, presidential candidates individually, can any of you actually individually defeat President Tinubu in 2027?
Any upright citizen who will defeat President Tinubu. It is not a wrestling match.
But that's what he said, that it's a wrestling match.
Yeah, that's what he thinks. But he's wrestling with his own conscience there because of poor performance. What we need is this. There are a lot of side talks in politics that have become the main subject matter. We have a constitution. We have prescriptions in the constitution of what the government should be. We've had national development plans since independence with so many things outstanding there, including Ajakuta and so many things. We have local and international standards for the welfare of our people. And we have statistics staring us in the face about the gap between what we ought to do and what we have done. The population of the Almajirinchi in Nigeria is more than the population of most countries in the world. So why is it a question as to who can beat who? It's just a question of Nigerians being reached. When you come out, you make a choice between the backwardness that we see now and the future promise that we are working for. So anyone can do so in a free, fair, and credible election.
Prince, tell us practical terms. Let's use you as a practical example. What's your pathway?
My pathway to the presidency is through the ballot. And what we're going to do is that, number one, we position our party to have clarity of identity. By the time people are going to the polls, they will know what SDP stands for. Many know, and many of your viewers know, and we take it to the communities. First, they know the programs we're coming to do. We have given our manifesto, and next week we will launch the manifesto, and everybody will see it. And the manifesto is reaching every part of the country. Second, we will make our party present in every polling unit. The logistic nightmare and the so-called criminal war chest is what people are analyzing to say, how do you have the billions? But the billion is not the problem. The amount of money Nigerians have spent in eating breakfast today is in billions too. So the money doesn't have to come from one pocket. So the issue is to make sure that we are present in every polling unit and you have dedicated people willing to go from door to door to canvass for the SDP. And to have people who are committed enough to vote, to wait there and count the vote. So now, that's all we need to do. There is no shortcut.
Let's speak specifics in terms of politics, actual politicking now.
Yes.
Starting from your own zone,
Yes.
Southwest.
Yes.
You are from Ondo State.
Yes.
Southwest. So, the other 5 zones, where do you see yourself winning?
First and foremost, I'm not a regional candidate.
Of course.
So chances are that I may do far better in another zone than where I originate from. So because I'm not representing ethnic or regional.
Yeah.
I'm the number one enemy of poverty and insecurity. So where you have more poverty and more insecurity, I'm likely to have better hearing there because they don't have luxury of remembering what ethnicity you come from. So, but what we intend to do, like in the Southwest, since you mentioned it, so it doesn't look like I'm running away from it.
Yes.
Most organizations and gatherings and leaning in the Southwest are in my favor. You were there, you saw when Afenifere spoke. They can speak for themselves. So, with Afenifere, with other groups, with different segments of society, they are ashamed of President Tinubu.
Wow.
Because that is, if there's an Olympic for good character, good behavior performance, do you think, and they ask every ethnic group to bring a representative, you think Yoruba people will bring President Tinubu? They won't, because they know they will lose. So, and if you are the country, the part of the country that brings the highest number of critics, you are the one bringing the critics on independence. You are the one bringing Fela, bringing Tasholani, Kaniva Emi, Beko, all sorts of
people. Akwa Bashorun,
yes,
every critic, who just name it.
Yes. So if you are the one bringing, have the most critical media. Is this a successor to Awolowo? Are you going to now become a people who allow the worst of you to go and loot the federal government and be giving your children appointments and you crowd out the rest of the country? Is it a legacy that Yoruba people will have Minister of Finance and Minister of Interior from the same local government?
Not just the same states now.
Same local
government.
I have 3 ministers from Ondo State, 3 ministers from Ogun State. Then you populate yourself in all the agencies with some of the worst of your people. You loot the country dry. And then when the next government comes, you start to now wear the toga of a critic. Won't you lose face? So resoundingly, the Southwest will be clear. Signal to Nigeria that President Tinubu doesn't represent us. In any case, see his performance. When it comes to voting, we don't vote him. It's you who vote him. So you deal with it. Second, if you go to the North Central, we were with the Middle Belt Forum. You can review by yourself. So, and you will see with the Niger Delta what they stand for. Where have you seen more underdevelopment relative to the revenue than the South? And then are you going to the Northwest? The Northwest, which is the bastion of leadership in Nigeria, that where the leaders make the most after the littlest, where with what was available, if you look at the revenue profile in the First Republic and Second Republic, that the Northwest, in fact, if you're looking at performance of leaders, Ahmadu Bello rated very high. Because if you look at the revenue, I was coming to Northern Nigeria and look at the vastness of which is now 19 states, and the amount of progress made. And if you look at the starting points with just 1 or 2 secondary schools to what they were able to produce, having only one doctor and 1 lawyer upon independence, to what they produce. Now compared to what is happening there, and compared to the fact that in the North before, if you were hungry from any part of anywhere, to the extent to which hungry people could be found in Nigeria, they were rare in those days, you could go around the North with 1 shilling in your pocket and you will see people eating openly by the roadside. You can just come there. If you are decent enough, you wash your hand. If you don't wash your hand, they will tolerate you. Just pick and start eating. Food was not an issue. In those days, as children, you took the train from Mokwa to Kafanchan. You will see people bring all sorts of. It was from the north that I learned that Nigeria has all kinds of snacks, traditional snacks that have disappeared now. Kuli, tuwo, this, that, and all. So, chinko, all sort of things. There's dried meat, dry fish, crushed meat. Food was abundant in the north. It's now the headquarters of hunger. Security. In the north, you could sleep openly on the street. And religion was taken seriously. Religion was not the kind of thing where some clerics come and say asinine things. It was practiced.
It was lived, demonstrated.
Yeah, you could see it. You could carry sacks and sacks of money. And Messiahs who carry the load on their head, they will not touch it. You could travel and your car breaks down and you leave your children with the next person in the north and say, look after them. I am going to go and get someone to come and fix my car. When you come back, your children are well fed, they are sleeping with the other person who you just met a moment ago. And when the children are following you to your car, they'll be crying because they've made friends. So that is not a Nigeria of today. So why would we not do well when we know how to deal with the security? How the rallying points of civilization, the palaces, you could walk into the palace of any emir, any akimi in those days and say, I am hungry, or I owe a debt, I have a problem, or I don't have accommodation. There is somebody in the palace whose job is to deal with it. It doesn't exist. So are you talking in terms of the Northeast? Northeast, it was so diverse that you can't even use people's name to know whether they are Fulani or they are Kanuri
or whatever.
or all sorts of
or whatever, or
Chamba
or Idoma or
no,
whoever.
nothing. So now they are more likely to listen to Boko Haram than listen to the government.
Let me ask you, as to round up on this. So, out of 6 zones, and you are not a regional candidate, you are running for president, how many of them would you win? Just one?
Oh, I think that we will do very well. Our weakest point is Southeast.
Because
they have our weakest point is Southeast, and we're working hard because the explanation to give in the East is the justice of there is a high sensitivity regarding why not us, and what you have to be sensitive to it and still say that, look, what I recognize as the problem of Nigeria is the issue of poverty, insecurity, lack of rule of law, and accountability. And that if we can solve that problem, you can do your politics as you like, but let me solve this problem for you. And then later you can go into your rotation. Then let us deal with this issue of where billionaires can't go home, even in the Southeast.
Brilliant. Prince, let me give you 2, I know it will be difficult. Okay, 3 minutes. Why should Nigerians entrust their votes to you in 2027 as president? 3 minutes, Prince.
Why Nigerians should entrust their votes is one, I understand the duty of president. Majority who go there don't understand it. I understand that I'm also going to be head of state, father of the whole nation. And I know every part of Nigeria. I know every local government of Nigeria by 2 feet. I also know that security is our number one challenge. And as commander-in-chief, I know how to reorganize the armed forces. You will see the most fundamental reorganization of the armed forces. And it will be different from what President Tinubu has done, which is the hollow naming of divisions. It is not the number of divisions that strengthen the armed forces. It's the strength of each division. So even if you have only 3 divisions and they are strong enough, they will cover the country. If you have 100 divisions and they don't have divisional strength and training and doctrine and equipment, it will not work. 3, I will ensure that poverty goes away. using the available resources in the country. And you have seen our economic plan. So once we give you security, we give you a sound economy where you have a stable exchange rate, stable inflation rate with low single digit, you have full employment, and you have accountability for the use of your money, and we build infrastructure and grow agriculture. And we work towards giving you 75,000 megawatts of power, because that is the number you need. Because you don't make power for what you need today. You know, there is always a plan that you must give powers minimum 15 years ahead of when it is required. So we must work towards 75,000 megawatts. In reality, we are generating almost 60,000 megawatts now, but they are not generated in proper fashion.
In an integrated manner.
Yeah, because people are using their generators, they are using other things, so we get to 75,000. Now, we give you fairness. There's no favoritism in the country. There's no ethnicity or religion in appointment. And we eliminate all the thieves from power, because the number one thief is always the president, because nothing can be taken from government at the federal level without presidential authority. Therefore, you cannot say, I'm an honest president, but my government is full of thieves. That is a contradiction that's not allowed. So you must now show that you are not going to let a single kobo of public revenue to be lost. Rule of law will work. It is not me that will rule the country. It is the law that will rule the country. It is not my voice that will dictate whether you obey the law or not. It is the operation of the police, and the police will be taken away from the government, and the DSS will be taken away from the public. So we are going to now plan for generational justice, which is to give qualitative, sound, free, and compulsory education to all Nigerians, using the resources available in the country. There is no way a government can say they love the people if they don't give them education. Then we'll give you health care. Every Nigerian has 2 appointments with the doctor every year, where you do comprehensive check. And for those who have communicable diseases, lifestyle diseases, normal tropical diseases, we will have full coverage for them, so that nobody dies of diabetes because they can't just do the check, or they can't buy the medication that they require, or they can't get the proper diet. We will ensure that agriculture becomes number 1. And just 6 regional programs for agriculture will supply all that we need in terms of food. And lastly, we ensure that Nigeria makes very good international friends, because when you have presidents like me, who have lived and worked in many countries with clean record, that there's none of the country in which I lived, whether it's USA, whether it's Europe, whether it's Australia, anywhere, that I cannot go now, that I have a bad record. I don't have a bad record anywhere. And that we can understand how to make friends for the country, so that we can secure our people. We can also ensure that domestic investors have rule of law. No case in Nigeria, and we have demonstrated it through the electoral litigation, it can be done through all litigation. No case in Nigeria will last more than 1 year. We'll write into the Constitution, any case, whether it's criminal, whether it's commercial, whether it's otherwise, will not go past 1 year, so that the rule of law can be seen and people can have confidence in the judiciary. And I'll have a judiciary, starting with the Attorney General, who will be part of the judiciary. And they will be free from me, not to talk of the quality of judges we are going to appoint, and we're going to be sure that we, at number 1, people to obey the law.
Brilliant. We would schedule a special program for presidential candidates. When the time comes, we would invite you. We would thoroughly scrutinize, but not just scrutinize, interrogate your manifesto.
You have a manifesto. I enjoy that. I wait for that.
So we would extend an invitation to you.
I look forward to that.
Because now campaigns have started.
You are not going to get any bala blue from me. You're going to get facts and figures.
We're not going to spare you. We'll take you on how Because we have had candidates.
Don't worry
come
about
and tell
me.
us,
Worry about
you know,
locating President Tinubu and getting some bala blue out of him.
we're doing that.
For me, you don't have a problem.
We're doing that. Now, one of the things we're winding down now, Prince. One of the things you said recently on an interview was that you would help to cure President Tinubu of his economic illiteracy. Can you expand just 2 minutes?
Okay, look at the economic illiteracy that they suffer.
Yes.
One, they don't understand the interaction between fiscal policy and monetary policy. They don't understand the concept that the objective of monetary policy is full employment. When you send for fiscal policy, what you want is the ideal thing you look for is a balanced fiscal policy, where your earnings, the revenue that comes to the government, matches the expenditure. You can now improve in the quality and quantum of your revenue. You also improve even furthermore with the quality of your procurement and expenditure to see that the expenditure gets value for money and is accounted for. They are failing at all of that. Now, the monetary policy that they are having is leading to mass unemployment, which is the opposite of monetary policy. There is no way you can see Cardoso. He's swimming against the tide. He is struggling. But Cardoso does not have enough tools to discipline
the CBN
them.
governor, you mean?
Yes.
Yemi Cardoso.
Yes, he's struggling. So he's cooking, papering over, struggling, but they're not helping him because the government spending is not directed towards full employment. And monetary policy is a failure if it doesn't lead to full employment. And when we say full employment, get it. In economics, it means full employment of all factors of production, not only full employment of human beings. It's full employment of capital. That is money in the bank and money in your savings.
Natural resources.
And the machinery and all of that. Full employment of land. And full employment of entrepreneurship. So nobody who has an idea of setting up a factory says, no, I'm shutting it down. I'm not taking a risk with my money. So that is the economic illiteracy. Then they don't know multiplier. They think that by bringing Oyedele, the tax collector, to replace Wale Edu. Wale Edu is a malfunctioning Pojo 504, which you could fix and reduce the overload because you are using that Pojo 504 to carry 20 people. You doesn't decide for that. But let me use a more contemporary for young people who don't know 504, which I grew up in. It's like a Toyota Corolla. That's what Wale Edu was. A Toyota Corolla with a 40 engine being used to carry 20 people at the same time. They now replace that Toyota Corolla now with a wheelbarrow. That's what replacing Oyedele is. He does not understand basic economics, or you can call him. Someone I like, he's a brilliant tax collector, but he doesn't understand economics. And that's the person who is going to be coordinator of the economy. That is your own Awolowo. And where do you start from? So this is where there's problem for them. That's why the economic illiteracy they have. They now assume the government thinks like a firm. The government is not a firm. A firm collects as much revenue as you can collect because that's for your P&L, profit and loss. But for the economy, you don't do that. You allow some money to go into the purchasing power of households. You allow some money to go into the purchasing power of firms so that firms and households can combine together for productivity and also combine together to raise the GDP. So what is happening, therefore, now is that President Tinubu is behaving like the villa is a firm that must do P&L. The federal government, the more revenue you make on paper, the better for the government. It's not so.
The chairman of the Nigerian Revenue Service, he was on television 3 weeks ago on a major network. And this guy spent 1 hour, 30 minutes, in my considered opinion, because it's a field I consider myself to be an expert in. And he was gaslighting the entire Nigerians that the economy is wonderful. You actually came with PowerPoint presentation. And one of his chief boasting tool was that under Buhari, April or early May of 2023, the revenue that was shared by the FAC, the 3 tiers, was 700 billion. But that now, May of this year, what they shared was 500% more, which is 4.5 trillion naira. And that because of that, the Tinubu government deserves commendation. They are doing so well. Everything is hunky-dory and all of those.
Okay, I'll make an exception. Because normally I try to avoid speaking to hirelings of the president. The president is the one I'm competing against, and is the one who brought them. But I can tell you, from what I have seen, I didn't even see that, but I've studied what he's been saying around. Zach Adedeji is a biblical pestilence. In fact, Zacchaeus, the tax collector in the Bible, is not as terrible as this one. It's because of people like him that Jesus said, woe to the tax collectors. Because to collect tax is not a bad thing. But to rub poverty in the face of the people. One of the reasons why Judeans and Israelites did not like the Roman tax collectors is because of behavior like this. When the taxman symbolizes an oppressor. 3 problems they have. 1, they don't know how to align personnel. Taiwo Oyedele ought to have been in NRS if they must give job to their own people. And Zach should be doing his official duty, which is raiser of campaign funds for APC.
Wow. That's his official...
That's the proper work he's doing. So they should have taken him as financial secretary of APC, put Taiwo Oyedele as... because if Taiwo Oyedele is talking about tax, you will know he's brilliant. Where he's lost, he's talking about the economy, for which he's not prepared, he's not trained. And it's too short. This is an outgoing government. President Tinubu is an outgoing president, so we can't waste public money teaching an outgoing government how to run the economy. So we have to replace them. The second problem they have is that they have illusion of money. Either arising from personal history of poverty, or you could see the way they luxuriate in money. But money to an individual is not the same thing as money to government. Because money to government is not always cash. Money to government is anything that can be used to capitalize and multiply. That's money. So that was why I disagreed with those when they were saying Nigeria Airways was broke and they needed to privatize. I said, no, Nigeria Airways cannot be broke because if you look at all the BASA rights they have, all the places they have the right to fly to, that is money that you can use to buy them aircraft and start. So they don't understand. In terms of time value of money, in terms of if you mark to purchasing power, the money they are collecting now is less than the money they were collecting before because of what you can buy. So if you are a state government, you are doing, or federal government, you are doing concrete road, and you are appropriate 1 trillion to concrete road, and you are buying cement at 14,000 per bag, you will not build as much concrete road as when you only had 200 billion and cement was 400 naira or 600 naira. Your wage bill is higher now because your minimum wage of 100,000 is not even satisfying the workers as much as 18,000 at that time. And if you look at government contracts, most of them are coming back for revaluation. And many of them are failing. The 15 trillion that they committed to Coastal Highway, will have been enough under Goodluck Jonathan to fix all the roads in Nigeria. So that illusion of money is there. Third, they have intellectual dishonesty. So when you see them talking, half of the time they don't believe in what they are saying. Their faces and their mouths don't agree. And their mouth and face don't agree with their history. Secondly, they pretend to know what they don't know. That's the second intellectual dishonesty. Because there is an abundance of ignorance in the President Tinubu's government. And that's why they are all coming ground, standing and calling statistics. People are pretending to have qualifications they don't have. And they have experiences they don't have. So that is the problem of that government. And they are not able to give leadership. Everybody there is an expert. Whether it's Minister of Works, he will be quarreling and reciting his qualifications. But as a project manager, your projects are not properly funded. They are overshooting the budget, overshooting the timeline. So what kind of experience are you giving? So this is the summary of it all, is that also President Tinubu wants to combobulate and irritate the public by bringing all these people out to come and be talking in a manner that you'll be so annoyed, you just switch off your teeth and disengage. And lastly, there are too many clowns in the court. So all of them have the audience of one man. So these people who are in President Tinubu's government don't have an organized way for performance measurement. You know, under Obasanjo, you had Ihovere, Julius Ihovere. You have Osita Ogbu. One of the most fantastic economists you can ever get is Osita Ogbu. Any government that comes to power that doesn't remember Osita Ogbu, then you are not ready to use manpower. So you had all of these people coming together to an economic team. So you can lead it. Anybody could lead that economic team if you understand basic economics. Because they don't have that. They have a parapo.
It's Yoruba parapo.
Yeah, it's not even Yoruba parapo. It's
exactly.
Parapo. So they just come with Tinubu's household writ large. So, and they don't even do the work well. So, like the acting president now, the first lady, who is the acting president, she's running a campaign. She has some experience as a senator. She's been in appropriation before. So, since she's virtually the acting president, she might as well be part of the economic team and direct, because the Kuli philosophy, yes, does not rhyme with the grand vision that the government is saying. The government is saying that we are bringing foreign investor, we are...
The stock exchange is 150 trillion.
Then you started with foreign investor, you end up with Kuli. It's not fair to us.
Prof, let's move away from that. We can spend the whole day on this, because something that is really very, I take very personal. But let's move on from this. Osun elections have come and gone.
Yes. Many lives gone.
Many lives wasted, sadly. Yes. But against all the odds and expectation, Governor Adewole Adebayo won. Some called it a David versus Goliath. Federal might failed. Some of our people from Yoruba land were singing, or they were singing, Owogbo, because they took their money, but they still didn't vote. It's difficult to say you should do this in a very few, but try and do it maybe 2-3 minutes. What lessons what do you learn from Osun for 2027? Was it the failure of federal might, or President Tinubu, as some are alleging, is one of the heroes of the election because he was a Democrat, he allowed everything to play out, he did not interfere? Or was it the Osun people?
Okay. What I know,
yes,
is that one, President Tinubu doesn't know economics, doesn't know governance, but he knows politics. He managed a difficult situation carefully. And if you get deceived to think that our Osun model is what we should follow, no. The lesson I can learn from Osun is that the Nigerian people are ready.
Really?
Yes. If political parties can actually reach out to them, Nigerian people are ready. However, it's an internal friendly match in Tinubu's camp.
That's the Osun election.
Yes, because both sides belong to him. And he had tried to manage them internally to get Adeleke to come and run. But the tantrums from the Minister of Blues,
Blue economy.
there's no economy, there are only blues left. The Minister of the Blues and all the other people said, no, we can't do it. So it's okay, go and do it outside. So he's still managing it. Like if you have two wings of your supporters and they don't want to align, okay, go and try your luck. So one was using state power, one was using half of federal power because the black market federal government was all went to Osun, not the federal government itself, the black market. So don't assume that President Tinubu has just become so generous now. It's an internal thing. So for us, we must thank Osun people for coming out to vote for the person they consider popular. We must lament the loss of lives. It's unnecessary over two sides of the same coin. 3, we must lament the fact that no third party, like the SDP, could make a showing because in our own case, the INEC banned us and they didn't put our candidate until the eve of the election that it was Nekiti, and they didn't allow us to upload a single agent. So we are fighting that in court. But the reality is that opposition, if you are laughing at Tinubu, don't use Osun. Osun is Tinubu's ability to manage a complex internal conflict of his supporters, using the lives of ordinary people as sacrifice. And the presence of 30 commissioners of police, that's not replicable in general election because there are 774 local governments and you don't have 774 commissioners. So let us be grateful that Nigerians are willing to vote. What I take as my joy is the high turnout. Yes. So it's not as high as I had hoped for, but it's higher than. But I feel wounded that there are still up to 440-something thousand people willing to vote for APC.
President Jonathan came out to condemn governors who converged, not even converged, who invaded, plus ministers and party people from Abuja who converged from all governors left all of that. I want to comment on that briefly, and then especially I want to single out Governor Monday Okpebolo, who goes around with these hype men who are singing him and all of that. 1 minute, please.
No, you see, these are leaders of the country. They're the Council of State. But they become rapscallions who just don't look at the gravity of their position. That a state governor is not a joke. Even jokers are occupying this position, but the office is not a joke. So, and I don't see any, it used to be a matter of dignity. Because you can be governor of one state and have friends in another. You can come from Edo State and you school in Sokoto. So when the election comes, you can go and give support, but not to become invaders. So it's just, and it's all about trying to impress President Tinubu. They interact with him more. I have not had 2 minutes discussion with Tinubu since that day I was born till today. We only greeted each other once at peace signing when he used to be interested in peace signing last 4 years ago. I don't know him, but those who go around him, they come out behaving in a particular way. So I think maybe they think that that's what he wants. Just go there, snatch it, grab it. So he's making them to behave. But I plead with the governors, for the sake of the dignity of the state, for the sake of the people you are ruling over, tend to behave well. That behavior in Osun is wrong. It's thuggish, and it's not statesmanlike. I know that they think it's a joke, because if it's Nigeria, when they meet each other, backslapping, laughing over nonsense, and they may be thinking, maybe they are even calling Adeleke to say, we're coming to your state. We'll just behave like talks today, don't mind. But the members of the public will think it's the right thing to do, especially young people. So these governors, it shouldn't come to a sorry state in Nigeria where a newborn baby will be Christian, and somebody will say, I pray that you become a governor. God, people will say, God forbid. It shouldn't come to that point.
Wow. Final question, Prince. FCT Minister Nyesom Wike, in an interview, said openly that it's not true that federal might was deployed, that if President Tinubu had wanted to actually win Osun, President Tinubu would have sent him, Wike, to go there. 1 minute, Prince.
I blame the media. They are not fair to Wike. They turn Wike to a clown.
A pantomime.
Yes, anytime they go and collect his money and give him airtime to destroy what is left of the dignity of his office, and they use him to entertain the public when there's nothing funny. I respect Wike for one thing, that he has a good work ethic. He can work. Yes. And if FCT ministers have been working like this, we will have been a better FCT. And if any other person, commissioners of works in their various states, work like this, then we'll have better infrastructure and all of that. I know that they are inflating the contract, they're not getting value for money, but it's working. There was a minister before him for 8 years who was just going to pray and coming back, and nothing come out of it. So for that, I respect him. I'm a person who believes in welfare, and I like somebody who does his work. And infrastructure is part of welfare. Even as a person who lives in FCT, I travel better, life is easier for me and my businesses with the work that Wike is doing. But Wike is a bad example for Nigerian politics because of his glorification of violence, of force, and state power. And I hope that he learns the lesson before he has to learn it, that power is transient and that a civilized society is better. So I would recommend because it takes two to tango. I recommend to the media, don't go the Wike into talking outside the FCT matter. Luckily, he has won his war in Rivers, leave it like that. Secondly, I plead with Wike, if he has relatives, friends, and everything, just stick to your work in the FCT. Stick to it. If you want to give President Tinubu any assistance, give it to him. Don't raise a new generation of young people who would believe that a minister can be a thug or can talk in a thuggish way, and that Nigeria's democratic experiment is by force. But overall, Wike, I'd rather have Wike doing what he's doing now. I think to me he's the number one minister for President Tinubu. And if they make any headway at all in FCT, it's because of Wike's coming to work, showing up, doing his work. So I find it reluctant to condemn someone like that because I'm looking for
people like that.
So in fact, in my own government, I can appoint Wike, but I'll put sellotape in his mouth. I can appoint him to work because he can work.
Absolutely. Absolutely. That's a good work ethic. You got that right. Prince, it's been a wonderful session as always. Thank you so much, Prince.
Thank you. God bless Nigeria.
Amen. God bless Nigeria. Thank you for coming again.